Hello students, I am Ishan Trivedi. Welcome you in this video lecture series. Today I am going to discuss about urban transportation planning process and level of urban transportation planning. Let us see the content. In this topic, I am going to cover the urban transport planning process, their systematic approach based on various steps. These steps are problem definition, solution generation, solution analysis, evaluation and choice, recommended plan, and implementation. Next here is levels of urban transportation planning. Then I will discuss about basic structure of transportation system. Here the various modes of transportation will be discussed. And at last I will discuss about the human settlement in terms of rural area and the urban area. So let us start with the urban transportation planning process, a system approach. In this system approach, the first step is the problem definition. In this first step of system approach to transportation planning is to understand and define the problem clearly. Here the problem is oriented to city development. And first we need to identify the problem in terms of the location, in terms of land use pattern and travel pattern. The aim of the first step is to define the interface between the system and its environment. Here, this system is nothing but various elements or factors of any city or a town. These are goals, objective, criteria and standard set for particular plan. Here, the inventory is done like land use, employment, transportation supply, transportation network, travel demand, and so on. This type of study are carried out in this problem definition. The planner is forced to find the alternative means to accommodate various constraints like finance, politics, acceptable to service to non-car owners as well. So there are constraints to finance and certain political pressures are there. So they have to find out various alternatives while determining these problems. Next is solution generation. The aim of this stage is to generate the number of solutions that satisfy the previously established objective in the problem definition and to a greater or lesser degree and which do not violate those constraints that I have discussed in problem definition. Those constraints are, again I am telling you, those constraints are finance, politics and acceptable services to non-car owners. There is no general approach to solution generation, and in this solution generation, travel forecasting is being done. These includes by trip generation, trip distribution, and mode choice. Next is solution analysis. In this stage, each alternative solution that has generated during the stage 2 is being studied by its operating characteristics and behavior. This prediction is done through a 4-phase of process, this consisting of trip generation analysis, trip distribution analysis, traffic assignment analysis, and at last modal split analysis. This will be discussed in detail in further more chapters. So what you have to remember here, whatever the problem has been found out, we have to find out the alternative, then solution generation, and based on those solution generation we have to find out the solution analysis. And here this solution analysis is being divided in 4 stages. Again I am repeating, these stages are of trip generation analysis, trip distribution analysis, traffic assignment analysis, and at last modal split analysis. Next is evaluation and choices. The purpose of this stage is to identify the alternative system that satisfy the objective to a great extent. These objectives were made in the problem definition, and based on that I have derived the ample of solution and I have analyzed those solutions as well. Now what I'm doing the evaluation of whatever the choice and alternative that I have. Clear? And based on the system, I will put appropriate solution to the system. Next is recommended plan. Stage 4 ultimately gives us the most effective plan which can be recommended as a final optimum plan. So whatever the study has been carried out, now I will going to implement, and for that before that what I have to do, I have to precede my activity, that is of evaluation, and I will take the recommendation based on the evaluation that I have done in the system. After this, the last is the implementation of the plan. The final optimum plan for the horizontal year identified in the last stage requires working out the procedures, priorities, or implementing it through a plan. So whatever the recommendation has been done, it will be implied in the evaluation, and final stage is to implement in the real practices based on the requirement, priority, and the procedure that we require to follow to implement certain things. So these are the systematic approach of urban transportation planning. Next is levels of urban transportation planning. The transportation planning studies are carried out at number of levels having different type of details and decision to be accounted. The planning or design agency and the team also changes from level to level. So these levels are, first is conceptual plan. It has been done at regional level. Based on conceptual plan, the outline plan is been prepared, which is at sectoral level. All the feedback has been received from conceptual plan is been implemented in outline plan. So the feedback of the conceptual plan to a broader extent is been implemented in outline plan. Based on outline plan, the master plan at a district level is been prepared. Then a statutory or local plan, or you can say advisory plan, is been done at local level, and at last detailed development plan is been implemented based on actual development. So whatever the plan is been implemented, it is based on the preceding plan, or it has been considered or developed based on the preceding plan area focus. So whatever we have done, for example, for statutory plan, what I'll do, I'll take a reference of master plan, and based on that, the statutory plan or advisory plan is been done. So let us discuss these things in detail. Now let us study these levels of urban transportation planning in detail. First is conceptual plan. The conceptual plan is prepared for the broadest level of planning where the planning period is large. Here it has been kept up to 30 to 40 years, which cater very large area with the population ranging from 2 lakh to 5 lakh. The aim is to make forecast for land use, population, employment, and consider the economic status of the area. It indicates major roads and public transport system for the whole area without analysis of right of way or any cost. Next is outline plan. Outline plan is developed keeping in the view of conceptual plan, as I discussed in earlier listing. The planning period is about 20 years and it has lesser area, and you can say the population is around 50,000 to 2 lakh. It involves the forecast of land use, population, employment area, district by district. When I am talking about the traffic demand, the benefit to cost analysis is used for the economic evaluation. This benefit to cost is based on the socio-economic parameters, and social welfare is being considered in the benefit cost analysis. Whether the costs which are used for the developing the town is fruitful or not. So for that, what we have to do, we have to analyze the benefit to cost analysis in this transport planning process, and that is nothing but an economical evaluation. It indicates the major transport routes, reserves, right of ways, and cost per route, or you can say cost per route mile is worked out. Next is master plan. Master plan is developed keeping in the view of the objective of outline plan. The planning period is smaller, about 20 years. It has lesser area and population district up to 5,000 to 10,000. Here, the population, land use, employment is predicted on a zonal basis. Earlier, it was district-wise. Now here, it is based on zonal basis. And the detailed cost-benefit studies are carried out in this master plan. It predicts the future demands and all the significant routes which are established in future. Next is statutory plan. Statutory plan here catering the objectives of previous level of master plan. This stage involves the local planning. The planning period is 10 years. The study areas are in small zones, or you can say blocks or major property division. Detailed studies are undertaken in the view of problem and the future demand of all the significant routes which are undertaken on comprehensive basis. The detailed implementation plans are worked out here, and rigid right of way and economic analysis are done. Last is detailed plan. Detailed plan preparation involves various things. For example, formation of detailed land use control plan, development and redevelopment plan, design and implementation schemes, cost benefit analysis of specific development proposal, and detailed cost analysis. So these are the levels of urban transportation plan. I hope you have understood this theory. Now let us study basic structure of transportation system. When I categorize this urban transportation system, it will be in two parts, that is motorized transportation and non-motorized transportation. Non-motorized transportation and motorized transportations are categorized in two categories, that is passenger transport and goods transport. When I further categorize this non-motorized transportation system, in particularly passenger transport and goods transport, these are walk, bicycle, cycle rickshaw in passenger transport, and for goods transport it is hand cart and animal drawn cart. Furthermore, if I classify the motorized transport in terms of passenger transport, there are three major classifications. First is public transport, second is private transport, and third is paratransit. The type of vehicle in these three categories are bus, train, metro, monorail, and LRT for public transportation. For private transportation, there are cars, van, motorcycle, and so on. And for paratransit, it is taxi and auto rickshaw. Or you can say it is of intermediate public transportation. If I'm talking about goods transport, there are truck, tempo, van, and cart. So these are the basic structure of transportation system. Furthermore, if I'm talking about the links, then there are physical links and navigational links. Physical links are related to road, railway, tracks, pipeline, cableway, belt conveyor. And navigational links are airways and waterways. If these links are categorized in terms of means of movement of person and the goods, then there are three categories. These categories are large terminal, small terminal, and informal terminals. If I'm talking about large terminal, these are airports, ports, railway station, and bus station. Then small terminals are of loading docks, bus stops, and garages. And for informal terminals, these are car parking, loading and unloading areas. Furthermore, if I'm talking about transportation system and their various modes, then there are land transport, water transport, air transport, pipelines, cableways and conveyor system. Land transport are of road transport, railway transport, human porters and animal transport. If I'm talking about water transport, then the modes are river transport, canal transport, lake transport and ocean transport. Then air transport includes passenger, aeroplane, cargo plane, fighting plane and helicopters. So these are the basic structure of transportation system. Now understand the theory, that is human settlement. Human settlement are broadly classified in two parts, that is rural area and the urban area. If I'm talking about the rural area, then it is a smallest area of habitation, or you can say a village, which generally follows the limit of a revenue village that is recognized by the normal district administration, or you can say it is nearly a agriculture area. Now second is urban area. Urban area has been classified as per the census definition of India. There are two categories which defines the urban area. These two categories are, first among these are all the places within a municipality, corporation or a cantonment or notified town area. Means a city which has a local municipality or corporation, then you can say it is an urban area. Ahmedabad has its own municipality, so Ahmedabad is an urban area. Another definition is all other places which satisfy the three main criteria. Among these, first is a minimum population of an area has to be 5,000, at least 75% of male working in non-agriculture activities, and at last a density of population is 400 per square kilometer. If any place or any area satisfies all these three criteria, then you can call it an urban area. This is nothing but the definition of a statutory town as per the census of India. Furthermore, let us understand few terms in brief. First is hamlet. It denotes a cluster of a few single family hutmen with the population less than 2000 and without any clear provision of street. In Gujarati, it has been known as a para area or para vistar. Next is village. Village consists of a number of dwelling units with definite street pattern, usually with a population between 2000 to 20,000 and with basic amenities like primary school. Next is town. Town has a population between 20,000 to 50,000 and have basic civic facilities like post office, police station and high schools. Next is a city. A city has a population between 50,000 to 1 lakh and will have most of the civic amenities such as hospital, educational institute, post office and police station. Then metropolis. It is a large city area with a population in excess of 1 million and may consist of a number of suburban areas attached to a core city center. The metropolitan city is a center of administration, commerce and higher education. Then at last, megapolis. Megapolis occurs when two or more metropolitan cities lies adjacent to each other, forming a continuous urban agglomeration. Now, if I classify these all the towns in terms of population based on URDPFI guidelines, these classifications are: for small town, the subcategory is divided into two parts, that is small town 1 and small town 2. For small town 1, or you can say a statutory town, the population is 5,000 to 20,000, and for small town 2, the population is 20,000 to 50,000. For medium town, it is also further classified in terms of two categories, that is medium town 1 and 2. For medium town 1, the population ranges from 50,000 to 1 lakh, and for medium town 2, the population ranges from 1 lakh to 5 lakh. For large city, the population lies between 5 lakh to 10 lakh. For metropolitan city, which is further classified in two subcategories, these are of metropolitan city 1 and metropolitan city 2. For metropolitan city 1, the population is 10 lakh to 50 lakh, and for metropolitan city 2, the population is 50 lakh to 1 crore. Ahmedabad lies in the metropolitan city category 2. And at last, for megapolis, the population is being more than 1 crore. There are few cities in India where the population is more than 1 crore. For example, Mumbai, Delhi, Bangalore. You can also classify these based on the class of cities like class 1, class 2, class 3, class 4 and up to class 7. So here I am ending this session. I hope you have learned the concept regarding urban transportation plan. Thanks for watching this video.